and insert a row. And then I could input my data.
The final task was printing the document, including an envelope, a task that requires the use of a typewriter in many offices.
People who worked with Windows Word 1.0 found that it was very difficult to create an envelope. They had to play games with their printer drivers and such, and do some strange, bizarre formatting to their document that wouldn't even show up in preview mode. Most of them just gave up. So we've put a lot of thought into what it would take to actually just have them say print an envelope and have us print it. So we had to go in and do a lot of special things with the printer drivers, and we had to do some research about how the post office wanted envelopes to be formatted and exactly what fonts and positions on the envelope, and how people were typically feeding envelopes into their laser printer. And we automated all that and then went one step further just for fun, and Word can actually look into your document and find your address because, well, everybody would have known how to do it, but this is a computer. What the heck? Let's do it for them.
At my previous job, we never did the envelopes on the computer. A friend of mine just showed me how to do them briefly, but we just typed them. So on here, I just hit the envelope thing, and then just added it to document. And that was it. Now, WordPerfect, I couldn't see anything about envelopes in any of the menu things or any of the topics. I went to glossary looking for envelopes, and I pressed E, but they didn't have any envelopes listed, so I went to index, and I pressed E. And I tried to select envelopes, but I still couldn't figure out. This was talking about paper size, and I didn't see how to get the envelope to come up. I couldn't figure out how to use the help. And there was, even when I got to the envelopes and got it to come up, it didn't even say anything about envelopes or how to print it, and on the Word it automatically came up and the address was already addressed on the envelope and everything. Much easier.
We've seen some of the reasons behind the quantitative results, but remember the users were also asked to state their preference between the two products.
As far as the statistics, I agree. I understand that it's used a lot in marketing and it can very often be deceiving, and that's why we like the direct measures as far as asking the people which one would you use, which one would you buy.
I really preferred Word because it was more accessible, it was more visual.
Word. I liked it because I could do more with it.
If I saw it in a newspaper that 80% of the people preferred Word over WordPerfect, unless I had the experience with it, I don't think I'd believe it. I preferred Word by far over WordPerfect. It was just so much easier.
Well, you always indent, you always set your tabs, you always have bullets, you're always going to bold, you're going to make text larger, you're going to make text smaller. Those are things that you always do. And what Microsoft Word for Windows has done is put it all right there in your toolbar.
I did expect the WordPerfect program to be easier, and I was surprised when the WordPerfect program wasn't. I mean, it was difficult.
Well, I think the learning curve on the Microsoft Word was immediate. I figured it out in 10 minutes, and I spent less than 5 minutes going through the menu. On the other one, I was familiar with it, and I still didn't get it done, and it still took me 40, 50, 60 minutes to get anything accomplished, and I didn't finish it. So if you compare the two, the second program, the Micro Word, it's a piece of cake.
Well, I consider myself a WordPerfect specialist, and I've done training in WordPerfect, and I've helped people convert from one program to the other, and I swear by it. And like I say, when I go to interview or someone calls up and they want somebody, it's WordPerfect, period. But after my experience here, and I see how easy it is, especially with the tables and the bordering. If somebody said they needed somebody to do some typing and they had Microsoft Word with Windows, I'd say yes, no problem. And probably could get a lot more work done.
Is Microsoft Word for Windows 2.0 a better upgrade for DOS WordPerfect users moving to the Windows environment? You might well question what you've just seen and heard.
I just took a look at the videotape that she shot at Microsoft, and understanding that the tape is edited to show favorable responses for Word for Windows. I was surprised at the consistency of the results with those we got at NSTL. And the type of responses are very characteristic of the kind of responses we got from people at NSTL.
Not having had the first-hand experience before I came in here, I already had my ideas, and they were changed just by my experience.
We encourage you to compare Word for Windows with WordPerfect for Windows and see why these people preferred Word.